Hello and welcome to Palatine Games, and we've been playing a lot of Nine Kings recently, and we're going to play some more Nine Kings today. Nine Kings is a new roguelike deck builder. That's what I was going for. There we go. Right, we've played through all of these. The one we haven't tried yet is the King of Nature. I'm going to try this. We're going to try it on Knight difficulty. It's the first time playing at that difficulty level. Let's see how that goes, if that's a complete disaster, or indeed if it's a pleasant surprise. Right, year is 720. I'd love to know. I like the mystery behind each time. It seems to be a different year, so it's very interesting. Right, creates a healing area on the ground, so I think this is what we need, and that suggests that we definitely need some kind of unit, in which case, as much as I love the mushrooms and I want to get them, the mycelium that we've got there, I think we need an actual unit. Okay, so that heals. Okay. Right, okay, that was a slightly strange one, wasn't it? So we've got healing powers. Okay, that seems like one of the weakest of the sort of citadels that I've come across so far. I love Procreate. Adding units to a troop is really good, and particularly when you've only got 3. Actually, that's really very powerful for these, because they only start off with 3. So this should be. Okay, that was nice, wasn't it? That was pleasant. It's always nice when you just thump the other side. Procreate again. Who could possibly say no to that? I want to stick the mycelium down. So even though I should use that Procreate, given that we sort of did fairly well. So what's going on there? Is this them? They just wait? Is it just? Yeah, okay. I think it's just because their firing rate is so low. That's quite interesting. Right, sturdy troop that does melee area damage. I think we could probably do with that. Although I kind of like this one. I quite like the idea of stacking that. That sounds good. Right. We've got a bit of an issue in that. So we've got some healing going on, but it's quite a slow rate of fire. That's why it'd be useful to have the mycelium, these spores at the side that just they grow over time. They can become really quite powerful. I'm not really seeing this tree ant thing. I don't. Yeah, I'm not super impressed. I'll get that one. Right, I've got a royal decree, so you get these bonuses. If you haven't played this before, you get these bonuses every so often. So the loan, more money. Whenever any unit is added to any plot, add 1 extra unit. Well, that sounds super powerful. Yes, that sounds really, really powerful. So let's just test what that is. So I'm just going to add 9 units. And did that add an extra 9 units? It's difficult to know, isn't it? Okay, so we've got this really slow rate of fire. Let's see. Oh, I can't see. Oh. Ranged troop casts powerful attacks at slow. We kind of got that already. Every year has a 50% chance of duplicating an enchantment of 1 adjacent troop. I've tried this before and I've never been super impressed with it, but maybe I just needed to level it up. Let's give it a go here. So, so we need to have 2 troops for that to work. I'm just going to cast this spell. It charges up over time. You can see the bar, on the sort of loading bar on my cursor. So yeah, these are slightly odd battles. We had really good luck with the bombers last time, although I think those worked really well with the troops that we had. I think we might use We had some really good bonuses with the King of Blood, because you can get these sort of bombing enhancing bonuses. I think I'm going to go with the imps, actually. Blessing in 9 years. If you have 20 gold or less by the year of the prophecy, multiplies your gold by 9. I think that's really hard to sort of keep track of personally, but maybe I'm just rubbish at counting. Who knows? Right. Let's put these imps there. Okay. Right. So we've got those imps doing some damage. That seems to be going fairly well so far. It's been pretty smooth. Although as soon as you say that, of course, something dreadful will happen. Right. Unit causes area damage equal to 20% of its attack when it kills an enemy. So I think I need more troops, and I need those troops to be benefiting from these bonuses. I haven't really seen lots of benefit in terms of this healing so far. These healing circles, but maybe that'll change, who knows. I don't want any of these are all dreadful. I don't like this one. I've got a loss averse. I guess if you put it next to something, you'd have to play it in the right place. So basically you gain damage over time, but you lose troops. So I think it's probably powerful if you put it next to a very weak troop. Right, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked here. So I had to declare war against another king. That just means you get kings from different places. Right, let's put that there. Sorry, to finish that sentence, you get the King of Nothing will start attacking, so you can see that we've got, this is the King of Spells, in case you're not familiar with the game. So me declaring war there on the King of Nothing means that he will be a potential attacker as well. Yeah, so let's see where we get to. So sturdy troop that deals melee area damage, I think that would be a good complement to what I've got at the moment, so let's put that there. And so I definitely got a bonus there. It's a bit difficult to use this, I guess, because obviously your troops move forward, so you've kind of got to guess where they're going to be. There we go, that worked fairly well, didn't it? Farm I've always found to be really, really powerful. I don't really want any of these right now, if I'm completely honest. None of these feel essential right now. So I'm going to put, let's see, I've got warlocks here, warlocks and imps, or warlocks and shamans. What would I want more of? Imps or shamans? I think I'm going to put it here because I think this is where the numbers game is most important. Okay, so I'm trying to aim this healing radius somewhere in the middle where our melee troops come together. Another one there, and we seem to be doing quite well. The mushrooms, you'll see in one of my previous videos, the mushrooms were really helpful. I don't want any of these are not terribly useful, but I'll take that one. Okay, so this is quite good, this is really important. This is a chance to expand a territory in one direction, and the sensible thing would be to expand this way. Well, you could do either this way. I think this is probably best, because now I can get more troops. So let's do the imps. Okay, we've got the farm working quite well. That's good. Okay, try and use the healing radius in a sensible way. Okay, this could be tough. It's difficult to tell. Right. Let's see. Right, levels up target plot, well balanced melee troops. I haven't got any space for more troops, so leveling up a plot would be a good thing to do. And I think the one I want to level up is this farm, because I think more troops the better. Although maybe I feel like the library's letting me down a little bit. I think one of the problems that you can have with this is that because you've got limited plots, and to reconfigure your plots, which I guess is a sort of fundamental part of the game, it can be quite tricky. I'm going to get the poison because I think again I need unit bonuses at this point. This is quite good, so unlocks 3 new random plots with forests on each of them. That's actually really quite powerful. This is very powerful as well. This is tricky. I think with the forests kind of that's probably the deal maker there. That's not perfect configuration by any means. I'd probably get rid of this one. But I can build troops here, here and here that will benefit from that forest, so that's something. Right, poison vial, I want to put this... I'll put this here, that makes sense. I'm not impressed with the library at all. In fact, if I could move that forest to that library, that would be a deal for me. Right, let's try and anticipate where your troops are going to be so you can benefit from this healing stack. Okay. It's quite interesting. Once you've got the stack down, it seems to just stay there. So actually that could be... Maybe I'm underestimating how powerful that is. Units attack heal it for 25% damage dealt. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to upgrade this. Okay, so that's quite nice. You've got quite a good little set of bonuses starting to work, which I guess is the essence of any good build, really, is you start to get these sort of cascading bonuses. Right, I don't need one of these. That's quite good, and I think that makes sense. That could be really quite powerful for these guys. Let's do that. These are sort of like, that means these things are more like cannons at the start, right? Because what you'll see is a bunch of area damage as they attack those distant targets. I'm going to do that here so that anyone... Well, I don't know if they overlap. That's one question I have. I'm tempted to get this farm and then stick it where the library is, because, well, I tell you what, let me get this, level up the library. Let's see what that does. Right, okay. It's pretty meaty. Okay. I don't know if the radii overlap, do you get twice as much healing, or how does that work? Not clear. Destroy target plot to level up adjacent plots. That's not bad, is it? I think I'm going to get rid of this. That would be quite beneficial. Okay. So let's do that. So now we've got another... Okay, so we're doing pretty well. That's good. That is good. Right, Procreate is one of my favourites. That is really good. Oh, and now we can build this. Now, so the question is, I think we sort of benefit more. Let me just think. This farm's already upgraded, so it makes sense to do that because that gives the possibility of, yeah, troop growth really. Okay, we're doing quite well there. So you can see the amount of damage that was done in the previous round. What you can see here is that these guys are doing a lot of damage, so having more of them probably makes sense. Okay. Let's see. I'm just going to cast it over the top. I think the way it works is that the radius overlap, the two radii. Not used to saying that word. The two of them overlap and double up the healing. I think is how it works. Right. Fast and aggressive troop with many small units. I think that's probably a good idea. Use attack heals it for 25% damage dealt. Let's go with that actually. And then if we put it here, if we put all these, if we kind of focus our bonuses here, that means the library's more effective. I think. Although I suppose it might just be just as effective with one. I guess, because if there's a 50% chance of any of them, then maybe it doesn't matter. Let's see what we've got. I think we could probably do with some more troops, and I think some heavy infantry feels like a good idea. Wilderness, 3 new random plots with forests on all of them. I think that could be quite useful, although summons are 50% stronger. I don't know if that applies to the mushrooms. That would be quite good. If it's just for demons, then I don't have any demons at the moment. Let's go with the 3 random plots. That will be beneficial. It's not as brilliant as if you were able to place them, but firstly we've got more plots, and secondly we'll have some additional troops that benefit from that. So I think this is, on balance, this is a good thing. Sorry, I'm just moving around. Right, Paladin. Let's stick a Paladin down. I could do with levelling up that farm. That farm is quite powerful. Okay, I do like how the mushrooms kind of scale over time. That's quite fun. Okay, what's going on here? What's going on? I think this makes sense. Runs towards the enemy and explodes, dealing area damage. Yeah, go on. That makes sense, I think. Although where to put that? I think let's put it back here, because that'll benefit from the forest, giving it more HP. Oh, HP, I suppose, for a bomber. That wasn't terribly bright, was it? Oops. Bombers don't need HP. Well, I suppose they do need HP, because if they get killed too soon, then they won't explode in the right place. So I suppose you could say it's worth it. That's the first time I've ever cast 3 radii of healing. We're doing okay. We're on year 23. We're 10 years away from the big boss battle. On night difficulty, it's the first time I've played it in this difficulty, and it's going all right so far. So I think I'm sort of feeling quietly confident about this, but let's see. Alright, I like the idea. Make peace with an enemy king. We've not had a particularly difficult time with any of them, but let's go with the king of spells. I'm at war with myself. There we go. That's something to think about, isn't it? Right, level up the target plot. Oh, I really like the mushrooms. But I'm going to level up that farm. That farm's really powerful, isn't it? Okay, right. So it's us against Nature Rebellion. Okay. Second healing radius. Oops, no, I didn't even get to the third one. There we go. I don't need any more forests. I think I'm all forested out. Ranged sniper troop always attacks the most distant target. That is a good thing to put on that, I think. Okay, right. Okay, so up against the King of Blood. Feels pretty good at the moment. There we go. There we go. A Demon's Altar. I love Demon's Altars, especially when you got lots of fairly weak troops. So I think that's a good one to have. I love Demon's Altars. What a strange thing to say. Right, I can definitely use that. I've got a decent amount of money as well. Let's see. What would I like to? Would I clone something? That feels more useful. And how much is that? 75. Yeah, I think why not? Why not? Right, leave that. Let's use this money. Okay, so we need to. Let's see what we've got. That's 48. Why is this getting higher? Is this getting higher because damage? Oh, that's interesting. Sturdy troop that deals melee area damage. Okay. I guess because this is just a lot faster, right? Hits per second. It's not really that fast, though, is it? Okay, has it got any bonuses? Any interesting? It hasn't really picked up any bonuses, but I tell you what, the fact that it did really well last time is a signal that it would be useful to do something with these guys. Let's level up this library. We're going all in on the library. I'm not sure whether that's the best idea ever, but let's do that. And then the question is, so do I stick this demon altar here? Summons an imp. I think that makes more sense. I think we want to just get rid of that forest and then put a unit there. That was what I was umming and ahhing about. Right, so battle is joined. The King of Nothing. I'll tell you what, the King of Nothing. I'm not sure how well this is going to go. A bit hard to read this one. Oh, lots of imps jumping away. Okay, that was good. Leveling up a plot is always a good idea, and I'm going to level up our mycelium here. I'm not sold on the library, I have to be honest. The chance of a random bonus, I do think the farm is very, very powerful. The farm is really something. Okay, so that took a little bit longer than it usually does. We're year 27 and we've not really been tested, I don't think. So the question is, where shall I build? So my thinking is that I would so my thinking is I'd quite like to put the demon altar down, in which case that would be a good place because it's an edge corner, no one's going to benefit from it. I could unlock a space next to, in this case, actually 2 forests, at least until I probably delete that one, and then I could put another unit down. That probably makes sense. Right, procreate. What do I want to procreate? My elves are still doing very, very well. So it just sort of feels like that initial volley is quite powerful, so having a bunch more of those guys feels like a solid move. Right, we're up against the King of Nothing. Okay, I think we're doing okay. I think our elves are taking their back line out, which is really useful. So bit tricky this one. I think I'll go with this one and use this. Okay, some more melee troops. Very difficult to tell how far it's going. I think generally we seem to be doing pretty well. Right, destroy target plot. Oh, I didn't need that. I think I'm gonna get this because I want to get rid of this one. It sort of feels like bad timing, but well, the other way I could do it is I could destroy this one. Let me think. Yeah, that would probably work. Let me think. Does that work? I don't know. It works for a unit, but I'm not sure. I was thinking about putting the demon on to do it. Right. Okay, we're up against nature rebelling. They're rebelling against us, which seems very silly, given that we are absolutely storming it. Right, procreate is really powerful. Let's get some more of these elves. Fail. The failing library. I feel like I'm getting very little out of the library. I think my initial skepticism about the library has been well founded. So I don't think I've had to cast a third healing spell for quite some time. Right, let's see. I think that's quite useful. Concabulator. That's really quite powerful. If we think we're going to go past the boss level, that's a good one to have, I think, because we've got a lot of unleveled plots. So I think that could be really quite powerful. Adds plus 2% to all towers and base every year. I've never, all of my builds so far have been very focused on troops rather than towers. I actually don't think I think maybe the first game I might have had some towers come my way, but I've really focused on, I guess that what's interesting about this is this one is quite powerful. I guess when you get to the King of, I think it's the King of Stone, unless he's the King of Rock. The King of Stone, that would be quite useful. That suggests a sort of very tower based game, doesn't it? Right, okay, blacksmith. I don't have the money for it anyway, so let's leave. I could have done with. Does this help with this to adjacent troops? That's not a troop, so it doesn't quite work in the right way, I think. So what do I need? Unit explodes when killed, so we want to give that to our light imps. We've got quite a lot of them. The only other people we might give it to, bombers are already exploding, soldiers are the other ones, but they have more damage. So I think we want the imps. Sorry, I just wanted to look. We've got 58 imps versus 46, so it's a kind of numbers game, this one, isn't it? So let's do that there, and we don't need this healing bonus. I didn't actually check that, but yeah, no, it's maxed out to 3 already. Okay. Right, King of Nothing. I think the King of Nothing has been... I don't know if it's been tricky, but we certainly seem to have had this big scrum in the middle that's certainly hard to pass. So I think it can be quite challenging to work out what's going on in games in these battles until you actually get them all sorted. I think we're very light on heavy troops, if that sort of makes sense. I think it does. I think we're light on heavy troops, so it kind of makes sense to try and boost those a bit. I don't think I've seen... I feel like I haven't seen that library ping at all. Maybe I have, it's quite hard to see compared to seeing it say fail, which it seems to say all the time. Right, we're on 32, so this is the one before the big one. The next one is the big boss. Let's just do this, that makes sense. King of Nothing is leading his final assault. We must play all of our cards. Oh, that's really annoying actually. See, I was going to save that up for post the boss level, but now I can't do that. Right, let's make these even more explodey and even more damaging. I can't play it. That's really annoying. I love these things, and I think that would be quite useful, but I can't play it. Totally forgot. So there we go. That was the library actually giving a bonus. So, right. Compared to the others, the King of Nature feels quite passive. You know, there's not much. You basically stick these circles down and just kind of hope for the best. Okay, so King of Nothing. Right, we're now attacking the Champion of Nothing. We've got 288 of our troops left. Another volley from our elves. There we go. That was very straightforward actually. At night difficulty level, that was us playing as the King of Nature. That was surprisingly straightforward. Didn't lose a life. I thought the difficulty would be a bit more. Thank you very much for watching. Hope that was interesting. Certainly a very different build to what I've had previously, I think. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. I'll continue in part 2 of this video, so come back and watch that, and thanks very much for watching.